What is up, YouTube? Thanks for joining me here on my channel, Steven Sturgill. Guys, once again, yes, we are looking at a tobacco-based scent. And it's one that I've been meaning to get my nose on for quite a while. Unfortunately, being a, how shall I phrase this? It's not niche, it's not indie, it's not an Uber Lux line, it's designer. It's a British design house. Robert Graham! It's Robert Graham's Fortitude. Yep, it's Fortitude. I don't know what accent I'm doing there, but it's Fortitude. Now, this is a blended essence. It's called a blended essence, right? Now, I wanted to get my hands on Fortitude probably about a year ago, thereabouts, or close to a year ago. I saw the beautiful sort of sculpted antelope head on the cap, and the really cool sort of almost an old throwback to like a bourbon flask or something from the late 1800s or maybe even the late 1700s, some kind of medieval flask with a 19th century twist. At any rate, what I did not like, guys, was the price. The price was, I feel, for something, and I mean no disrespect to Robert Graham, fantastic, funny, engaging guy, obviously from England, from London. I think he's from London. I apologize if he's not. Maybe, is he from Ireland or Scotland? At any rate, I know he's UK. He sounds a little bit more Irish to my ear, but at any rate, I digress. Point is $295, guys, for admittedly a very large 8.4 ounce perfume or cologne flask. Is pushing into Tom Ford territory, with the 12 gauge shotgun. It's and the problem is, again, no disrespect to Robert Graham's line, you're not Tom Ford, and I don't find that the house has anything commensurate with the Tom Ford signature scent. And I think most of the online vloggers and websites will, and other reviewers on YouTube obviously will readily and easily agree with me on that note. But from a practical perspective and online with all the reviewers, I think it's clear that it was a very well received scent. It's rated quite high on Fragrantica, or Fragrantica, however you say it. And so we'll just get into it. It finally hit the discounters, and that's the only reason I pulled the trigger, because it finally hit. I believe Fragrance Net and Fragrance X, and they have it at a ridiculously cheap price. It's almost like stealing candy from a baby. It's so cheap. So I just couldn't not pull the trigger. I will say, guys, this is the largest freaking coffre I have ever held in my entire life on planet Earth for any cologne or perfume on this planet. I've never seen a bigger bottle. I probably never will see a bigger bottle. I'll probably never hold a bigger. Okay, I've seen some ridiculous stuff like for displays back in the old days, like, those were like circus bottles. I'm talking about for a realistic thing you're going to sell to a real consumer. This Bubba is as big as it's ever going to get. Can we focus there on the back? Okay, it says New York, New York, distributed by Butterfly Beauty LLC, made in USA, Plaza, Salford, M50, designs copyright Robert Graham, US. Anyways, I like the bowler hat with the hand pointing down. Pretty cool little icon. This obviously is sort of resembling stamped leather with like a bunch of sort of embossed leaves. I hope that the camera can get that. Again, it's blended essence, assemblage d'essence. 250 mil, 8.4 fluid ounces. There's a cloth, beautiful cloth pool. I don't know if the camera can get the detail on that. There's a little bit of the detail. Pull this guy, and it is magnetic. That's magnetic lid. At least, yeah. There's a magnet somewhere in there. Now, this just opens. You get the embossed. That is gold leaf or whatever embossed. This is the really heavy-duty black styrofoam, cushy, not styrofoam, but that cushy packing, very heavy-duty. And then on the inside, I'm going to set this down here for a second. On the inside, you get this. See if I can get the camera to get in there. Okay, still not quite. Okay, I can't really see where it's so big. I can't even see what's. Okay, whoa. Nope. Okay. Man, this is a tricky little angle to get. Okay, I give up. Whatever. I'm not going to spend all day with that. It simply says. In fact, does it even? Oh. Okay, I found it in English on the back. It says, Robert Graham menswear is for the insatiable collectors who pave their own road less traveled with the knowledge that seeking is just as much fun as finding the wisdom to not take it all so seriously and the inspiration to create your own truth. Robert Graham fragrances are a collection of blended essences that are exceptionally crafted and distinctive. These unique essences are the product of a singular blending and aging process that yield a flight of rich and expressive scents. Robert Graham Fortitude, the art of magnetism and sensuality, for those with a strong, spirited, and adventurous swagger, like the legendary stamina of the horned dram whose head graces the artful decanter top. Robert Graham Fortitude evokes a daring sense of self and true grit, deep, rich, and almost mystical, born of alchemy and the exotic. An overly sensual top note of tobacco, absolute with secondary notes of patchouli and tonka bean, are melded to perfection for this distinctive blend. Knowledge, wisdom, truth. Okay, you'll forgive me for my possibly bad accent. There's some film down here. It says please remove. I just removed that, and very strangely you get a mirror. That's the first like full-on really good mirror that I have ever seen in my entire life on the inside of a cologne box or whatever you want to call it. Put that in there. Okay. All right, that's enough of the presentation. Just get into the scent. Okay, it's not. There we go. Okie dokie. Now, this is how it comes. It opens like this. And I gotta say, that's some pretty dramatic presentation. This is an 8.4 ounce, 250 mils that I assume will probably last me the rest of my life on this planet. A very, very heavy metal cap. These are gear sprockets. And I don't know, call it a ram's skull. It has obviously fake emerald eyes. If you can see that. Okay, and yeah, lots of good detail. Robert Graham here with the cloth. That's actually real ribbon cloth. And yeah, anyways, and you get this rich, light golden amber color. Pull that off. Metallized cap, plastic insert, sprayer. Now, we're going to, this was my scent of the day, guys, so I'm just going to do like one or two to refresh my senses. And again, guys, Well, I'll save that for the ending. Let's get into the really good and the not so hot about this fragrance. Because there's sort of some good and bad and the ugly. I love Clint Eastwood. I'm not aping Max 40, but it's originally a Clint Eastwood film. Obviously, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll tell you what this scent reminds me a heck of a lot, and that is, quite frankly, if you took Paco Rabanne 1 million, right? And then you took 1 million Privé and you blended them, but took all of the bubblegum factor out of the 1 million original. And then if you took out a lot of the nuances of the original, you feel me? So you're getting primarily, hold this, keep this in mind, keep this visual image or olfactory sensibility in your mind, picture. Take 1 million Privé, take 1 million original Paco Rabanne, blend them, take away a lot of the supporting notes and accords of 1 million, not of Privé, we'll get there in a second. Take all of the bubblegum factor out of 1 million. And then in turn, when you come to Privé, take a lot of that rich, resinous, ambery accord or aspect out of the scent. Take away a lot of the sweetness out of the scent. And take most, if not all, of the cumin out of the scent. This is what you get right here. And I hope that makes sense. I hope what I've just said makes a lot of sense. There is a little bitty similar to that blood orange or grapefruit opening that you find either in 1 million or especially in Privé. There's something like that in here. It's not as pronounced, but it's very, very clear in the opening. It's very, very clear. You do get the patchouli. It's not overly rich. It is a bit earthy, almost hinting at cumin in a way. Some patchoulis can do that, and in fact, I don't know how much of this is really natural or all synthetic, or 80% synthetic, 20% natural, or 95% synthetic and 5% natural. Have no idea. But based on the fact that it's a designer, number one, and number two, it's not a Tom Ford or a Creed, and number three, to a lesser extent, the way it hit discount shops so relatively quickly, I would be inclined to believe this has very little natural ingredient. I'm not saying none, didn't say that. I just probably, for my money, it probably has very little natural going on. Okay, that's neither here nor there. I don't want to get off the beaten path. Okay, so the tobacco in here, guys, it's, how can I say this and make sense? It's obvious, it's in there, it's clearly detectable, but it's not that rich. It's definitely not that resinous. It's not that moist either. I would say it's not uber dry, but it skews dry. And it just smells very basic. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it doesn't smell like a rich, resinous, fruity pipe tobacco, nor does it smell like a really robust, pure sort of Havana style tobacco cigar. It just smells middle of the road, mostly dry, just some kind of straight, sort of an average tobacco smell, if that makes sense. Now it's sort of, it's got that earthy component that the patchouli is lending to it. And there is, again, some kind of citrusy blood orange or a little hint of a grapefruit, but without so much of the intensity or richness that you might normally associate with those scents. It's like more of a shadow aspect of, you know what I mean? It's like blood orange, but like if it was left out a couple of days, but you still smell the after effect. It's kind of like that in the opening. So let's get into some of the other aspects, and then we'll wrap it up because I've already kind of run pretty long for what I was planning on doing. But what else is new? There may, because there is tonka bean in this, and there's also tonka bean in both Paco Rabanne's 1 million, I believe, and for sure in Privé. And there's almost a hint of cinnamon in this. I think there could be, but it's way, way down there in the base or in the heart. It's just so subtle, but at least to my nose, I'm getting just the barest hint of cinnamon. Again, it's nothing pronounced. It's not sweet. It's not overly spicy. It just seems to be that there's like 1% in there somewhere of cinnamon. And there's obviously a lot of tonka bean, which does lend some of that vanilla, almondy, earthy, slightly sweet tone in here. But what I like about this, guys, we're going to get into the good. This to me is like it's like a more grown up version of 1 million, right? And maybe it's not so extreme or over the top in terms of the sweet, lush, ambery, resinous aspect of 1 million Privé, right? That may not be to everyone's taste because 1 million Privé, it's almost cloying and it's rich, ambery, honeyed tobacco, nuanced and vanilla spiced tones. It's very, very, it just wafts, and I could see it being maybe too much for some tastes out there. This is definitely more dialed down. This is even more grown up than 1 million Privé. This is definitely more of a mature, or slightly, should I say, more conservative person's choice that wants aspects of those colognes or EDTs or other toilettes, but doesn't want the slightly youthful, too playful, too over the top designery, too well known. Perhaps, at least here in the States, this is definitely not as well known. So if you wear this, you're probably not going to smell too much like too many other people, quite frankly, on the block or in your business or wherever it is that you haunt, or go to, or whatever. Wherever you hang around, this will probably be a very unique scent for you. Now we come to the negative. As it begins to dry down, it's not all that distinctive. This is not going to wow you or blow your socks off. At least it didn't for me. It is legitimately quite good. To bordering on excellent, but I wouldn't quite go that far. I would merely say it's legitimately good to maybe almost very good. I wouldn't really quite go to very good or because of a couple of factors. Again, it's not all that unique. It's done quite well, but it's also quite simplistic. Let me be quite succinct. It's not as nuanced. It doesn't have as much going on as either 1 million nor 1 million Privé. There's quite a bit less going on in this fragrance. There's some good stuff going on here, right? Don't get me wrong, but there's not as much going on in this scent, and that could be something you might like or love. You might want something that's a little bit more basic and still very well rounded, which this is. But if you're looking for something that's a bit more complex, a bit richer, a bit more resinous, and that exudes and is a bit more pungent or just stronger on your skin and on your body, this may not be your best go-to choice, right? Projection and longevity were average to good. They were not more than that. Let me be clear. On skin, no problem. I got pretty good. I mean, right up on skin, right? I can still get nice little hints after about 12 hours, right? But stop pushing after 2. It really, really stopped pushing after 2. And by the 3rd hour, it had really started quieting down into a very sort of semi-discreet scent bubble. And I would say by about the 5th to 6th hour, probably only people hugging me or getting right up next to me, like within 2 to 4 inches. I think probably only then could they have smelled me. So this is definitely not. And I went really heavy. I went really, really heavy. This is not a beast mode frag at all. It has decent to good. And when I say good, I mean sort of in the averagely good sense of the word or the usage. I don't mean like, oh, really good. No. But it'll get you through a legitimate 4 to 6 hours. If you're looking to actually go clubbing, this is not the scent. And if you want something that's just going to exude beast mode for 6 to 8 hours, this is not the scent at all. Again, this will give you a legitimate 4 to 5 hours of, in terms of decent projection to coming into that pretty decent scent bubble. But if you're looking for it to give you a strong, 4-foot aura for the next 6 to 8 hours, not your scent. Not going to happen. This is not the scent for you. But it's interesting. It's good. I like the mix of the patchouli and the tobacco, those vanillic aspects of the tonka bean. And it does have a little bit of that mandarin sort of, or blood orange, almost hinting at grapefruit, something in there. There's a little hint of vanilla, a little hint of like nutmeg or coumarin and cinnamon, but they're dialed way, and I mean way, way down into the base or the heart. So that's going to do it, guys. If you already have go-to powerhouse scents like 1 Million or 1 Million Privé or other go-to tobacco-based boozy scents or things that offer some of the same aspects, such as tobacco vanille. Not this is nothing like tobacco vanille, but then this is definitely not a must-buy at all. But if you don't have very many scents in this wheelhouse, this is absolutely a no-brainer at the new ridiculously low price. Again, for about $110 to $118, all in for an 8.4 ounce of some really very decent quality juice. Just an absolute no-brainer. You could decant and pay for the entire purchase. Maybe even make some money if that's your thing. It's a no-brainer at that price point. But with all due respect, is it a must-buy? Absolutely not. But again, if you don't have too much in this sort of tobacco-based scent space, that sort of veers heavily into the wheelhouse of 1 Million Paco Rabanne and Privé, and also to a much lesser extent veers slightly into the airspace of like Amber Tobacco from Daniel Hosier, and to a lesser extent into Les Jours Sont Faits from Javoy, Paris. Oh my God, so good. Albeit, this is nowhere near the quality level of something like this, nor should you expect it to be, nor something like this, although it's a little closer to Daniel Jose. Still not quite at that level. It's very good for what it is. Just know what you're getting into if you pull the trigger. Beautiful bottle, extraordinary packaging, very large, which I love, and it's a legitimately very good scent. It's just not groundbreaking, didn't knock my socks off, and doesn't do certain things nearly half so well as some other better known, fairly high dollar. I'm not even sure it does things quite so well as Paco Rabanne's 1 million. But again, it's maybe more grown up and not so bombastic in its overall scent, makeup, character, and profile. And it's certainly not as well known, at least not here in the States. So that's going to do it, guys. I'll let you be the judge if you should pull the trigger or not. That's all I'm going to say on it. I would definitely say it leans mature. This is not all that youthful nor playful, but it's not necessarily an old man scent either. It's a bit simplistic. Not one-dimensional. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there's a lot less components, moving parts in this fragrance. Could be a good thing. Could be not your cup of tea if you're someone that's into lush, panoramic scents that just have like 18 to 20 or 40 or 80 or 100 ingredients in them. You know, just going buck wild up in there. But if you like something that's quieter, still very well done, a little more stately, classy, still quite good, but a little bit conservative, this could be a phenomenal choice for you, especially if you are in tobacco, patchouli, tonka-based scents. They have a little hint of cinnamon, a little hint of vanilla, and a little hint of some kind of nutmeg or vetiver. Something else is in there for sure. I don't know what it is, but there's a couple other components in there. But that's basically what you're going to get when you get this scent. That's going to do it, guys. If you like, please subscribe and click the bell for future updates. And I will see you guys down the road of scent discovery. Spray often, spray well. Live life on your terms, baby, not someone else's. I love you guys. Peace out. Keep rocking Mark. Keep rocking Joy. And to all my other frag heads and reviewers and lovers out there, much love. Peace. We'll see you down the road.